Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at estimating quotients with two-digit divisors. So we have taught about estimating with multiplication, we've taught about estimating with decimals. So now we're going to take that a step to the next level and we're going to estimate with two-digit divisors. So I want you to open up your book to page 195. Okay, and remember, as I'm doing this lesson, if you need to rewind it or go back, rewatch something, that's why they have the video so that you can rewatch it. So let's read through that first question. So our problem says, Kyle's school needs to buy posters for a fundraiser. The school has a budget of $147. Each poster costs $13. About how much posters can his school buy? Solve this problem any way you choose. So pause the video, circle all the important information. Okay, now hopefully you circled about how many. Remember, about how many tells me that we have to estimate. So what should we write at the top or beside it? EST. Because it's an estimate, we're not finding the exact amount, we're finding about or an approximate amount. The other things that we need to circle in order to solve our question, well, let's underline our question. It says, about how many posters can his school buy? So underline your question. And then the other things that we need to circle is $147. That's the budget. Remember, a budget is the total amount of money that you can spend. And then the posters cost $13. Okay, so now let's work that out as estimated, because remember, we're not finding the exact amount, we're finding an approximate amount. Now, think back. Do we estimate before or after we solve our problem? We have to do it before. And that's something I think that we're still struggling with a little bit, especially when we did multiplication. I had a lot of kids that would multiply first and then round. And that's not what we're asking to do. Remember, estimate is you're saying about how much, and then you do the problem and see, does your answer seem reasonable? So with this problem, we have $147. That's my total, 147. And I'm dividing it between $13 per poster. So divided by 13. Now, remember, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. What I might do might be different from what someone else might do. So we're going to look at a couple different ways that we could estimate with these numbers. So what I would do first is let me do my 147. I know that that's about 150. So I'm going to write 150 divided by, now what is something that's close to 13 that's divisible by 150? Well, I could divide it by 15. That's close. Remember, those are not necessarily rounding, but using those compatible numbers. That's what that would be. So 150 divided by 15 is going to give me, that's something I can do mental math for, is going to be 10. Now, remember, that's not the only way that we can solve this. We have 147. I could do 150 again, divided by, and 13, I could round that down to 10. So 150 divided by 10, so our approximate amount would be 15. Now this one would be an overestimate because we've overestimated with both my 150 and my 15. So this would be probably an overestimate. And this one, it just depends. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be over or under, so you'd have to do the question and solve it, okay? So hopefully that's helpful for you. I could have also done this 147 to be 140 divided by 13 is about 14. So 140 divided by 14, which would also give me 10. So you say, when you do your work, if your answer is about 10, you know that you probably did it correctly. Okay, now let's turn to the next page. On the next page, they give us another example of how we can estimate. So we're just going to go right along to the problems on page 197. Sorry, guys. On page 197, we're going to estimate using compatible numbers. So let's look at number 2. Let me erase this real quick. Number 2 says 287 divided by 42. 287 divided by 42. Now, remember, these are a little bit bigger numbers than y'all worked with last year when you were talking about dividing. Last year, y'all divided with 1-digit numbers and some 2-digit numbers, but not very many. But I don't think y'all were dividing with 42 last year. So we're going to be, again, using compatible numbers to solve. So let me look at this one. So this, actually, let me look at this. My 42. What's something that's close to 42? Hopefully you said 40. So I'm going to put my 40 underneath it, okay? Now, I need to do something that's close to 287 that's divisible by 40. So I'm just going to look at my first two numbers. What's something that's close to 28 that's divisible by 4? Well, I know that 228 is divisible by 4. So if I did 280 divided by 40, that's going to give me 7. Okay, think about it that way. Take one of the place values out and add a 0 and see if that helps, because I think sometimes if we just take off that last place value, add a 0, when you're using multiples of 10, it's a little bit easier. Okay, I could also have went up to 300. Okay, so 287. That's going to be 300 divided by 42. I could do that to 50. Okay, so now I know that 30 divided by 5 is 6. So I think that still would be a reasonable estimate for that, even though we overestimated with both of them. This one we did an underestimate with both of them, so this one would be an underestimate, this one would be an overestimate. Both of them would be reasonable estimates. Okay. Now let's do number 3. We're just going to do several examples of these, so hopefully you can kind of get the hang of some of these estimating with quotients. So the next one we have 320. So this is 3. 320 divided by 11. So this one probably is going to be a little easier for you. 320, that's something that I could probably do without even changing. 320 divided by, what's something that's close to 11 that's divisible, that can be divided by this? Well, that would be 10. Now, 320 divided by 10 is going to give me 32. That one hopefully was a little bit easier for you to see. But we're going to do a couple more. That way you have a couple more examples in your toolbox and you can see them easily. Again, as we're going through this, if you need to pause it, write it down, and then keep going, that's what you need to do. I want you to do what works for you. So number 4, we have 208 divided by 72. So for this one, I would probably start with my 72. Typically, I know I started with the first number on the first problem, but I normally would look at my smaller number, what I'm dividing by, to see what makes sense. So 72 is probably going to be divisible close to an estimate of 70. Okay, then I look again at my first two numbers. What is close to 20 that's divisible by 7? If you said 21, that's what I would have said. So now I have 21, add my 0, so that's 210. Y'all still with me? Thumbs up. Good. Divided by 70. So 210 divided by 70 is going to give me 3. All right. That's probably going to be your best estimate. If you get something different, check your work. Make sure it works. All right, we're going to do the last one is going to be number 5. So we have, and I'm just going to do, actually, no, I'll erase. That way we have plenty of room. We have 554 divided by 62. Again, I'm going to look at my second number. That's the number that's going to give me around how much we're dividing by. 62 is close to 60. So I'm going to put my 60. Now, I'm looking at the first two numbers. What is close to 55 that's going to be divisible by 6? If you said 54, you would be correct, and then just add your 0. So now I have 54 divided by 6. What is 54 divided by 6? 9. Okay? Hopefully you're able to start seeing some of these patterns that we're doing, so that way when you're doing it independently, you'll be like, I got this. This is easy. Okay? So the ones that I want you to do are, you ready? So get ready to circle. Remember, even though it's a video, you're still quietly echoing and circling. 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 17, 20, so that whole first column. Flip to the back, 26, 27, and 28. Okay, I want you to do those independently. If you have a sub in here, what I'm probably going to leave as directions is to tear out your page when you're done and turn it in to the substitute. If I'm in the room with you, you can make sure you raise your hand, ask for help if you need help. For the people that need help and I'm not in the classroom, do your best. If there's a para, please ask them for help. You can ask the substitute. They might be able to help you. Can't promise anything, but you know, they might be able to help. Okay. Love you. Bye, guys.